Hey YouTube, it's David with the RC Garage. Well, today, ever since I got this, there's been a big ol' ugly spot, big ol' hole in the frame right here because some mice grew a nest in the frame rail and pissed all over in the frame, and pee's highly corrosive. I thought it was rust because it was in Minnesota, but turns out it wasn't. So I finished patching it. As you can see, I cut out all the rust, welded in a big old thick chunk in there. So I'll show you how I did that. And when I built the exhaust on this, it was a 2-inch with the Cherry Bomb muffler that I cut open and gutted and welded back up. And the sound was really good. I loved the sound it made. It had a really deep, good tone to it. The only problem is on the highway at about 65, this sits at about 3600, well 35 to 3900 RPMs depending on how fast I go. And at the 3600 RPM range, the exhaust note changes and it's very loud and drony, and it's only at 3500 RPMs. Everywhere else it sounds great, but I go on tons of long drives in this, so I chopped that exhaust off and completely rebuilt the entire thing, put a lot quieter muffler on there. So I'll show you how I did that as well. I decided to dig into this frame rail that was rusty, see if I could get it patched up. I thought it was just rust from being in a salty Minnesota state. Check it out. Once I got down in here, got into it, that's a mouse nest. I thought it was weird that the thickest spot on the frame had somehow rusted through. Turns out it's because these stupid mice packed a nest in the little low spot of my frame rail and rusted it out. I'm gonna do some CAD. So I went to pick up a motor for my Samurai. It was about a 6-hour drive, and my muffler exploded. This thing has been bashed on rocks sand. It got bashed on a bunch of sand off-roading a few times. I never had a hanger on it when I built it, so it ended up breaking off right there, and I had to drive. It broke off right there, and I had to drive like 3.5 hours home with my exhaust just basically open header dumping right under my seat. It wasn't very enjoyable. Didn't smell very great. So I pretty much have to rebuild the exhaust, and I did want to make it a little quieter anyway, so that's what I'm going to do now. show you what the exhaust sounds. And I recently went on a trip to Tallulah Gorge State Park, which is about 3.5 hours from me and 3.5 hours back. So I drove this thing about 6.5, 7 hours, and it started swallowing coolant. The head gasket's done now. It's swallowing coolant. Just not too big of a surprise. I took the head off and took off a perfectly good head gasket and then put a new one back on without decking the head or the block. So not the end of the world. I did go and pick up a 1.68 valve though. I disassembled it, tore it down. The block, head, and crank are at the machine shop right now. I'm getting the head and block decked, the cylinders honed, and the crank polished. I'm not too sure on what rods, pistons, and everything I'm going to put in it yet. Once I get it back from the machine shop, then I'll figure all that out. I'm thinking about going with a little bit higher compression pistons, the Molnar rods that Zooks Off-Road sells, and the side draft Harley Davidson 42, whatever the bigger of the two carburetors he sells is as well, because the Toyota 3K is great. It works on almost every incline except when you're going down steep grades. It likes to stall out, and the Toyota 3K would be a little bit slow on the 1.68 valve. I'm going to port match the intake, so I want to do the bigger carburetor, cut out that centerpiece, get as much flow and power as I can out of the intake side, because I already have a header and an exhaust that can handle it. I'm hoping to get 110 horsepower out of a carbureted 1.68 valve without doing a whole lot. Well, that's what's going to be coming up pretty soon for this thing, because this motor it's tired. It's not going to last much longer. And last time I went off-roading, apparently I still hadn't dealt with my fenders good enough, and it cut into the side of my tire here. And even though these are basically brand new, now they're shaking and vibrating on the road pretty bad, which sucks. So I'm gonna jump up to 31s or 33s. Thanks for watching.